Welcome back to the Triple Threat Podcast. My name is Deshaun Watson. Alongside me, as always, William and we have finally made it to our top 4 quarterbacks in the NFL. We have probably the most exciting episode. We will break down each of the top 4, why we have them there, and if you haven't seen the other 7 videos that we've had, from 33 all the way to 5, go check them out on YouTube, Spotify, or wherever you're listening. And we will be posting this list along with the other position lists on the website triplethreatpodcast.com. So subscribe, like, leave your thoughts and comments below. And let's get started at number 4 with Josh Allen. Why do you have him above Russ?
Well, I think that he's been more dynamic. I think it's harsh to say that Russ Wilson's been... I'd easily say Russ Wilson's a better player, but given this season's body of work and his fall off he's had, especially with his turnover clip, I think that Josh Allen's just been better for that offense. He's lifted a much worse offense in terms of receiving threat, in terms of running back. You look at Chris Carson, DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett, and then David Moore. Then compare that to Stephon Diggs, Cole Beasley, and then an injured John Brown, and then a Dawson Knox with Singletary and Zach Moss. There's not a question which is the better group. And then I think that if you look purely at what they've done recently, the Bills have been one of the most electric offenses. You'd be hard-pressed not to put them as one of the best 2 teams in the entire NFL towards the end of the season. You'd not even argue they've been the best team in the NFL recently. I think the Bills have been fantastic. And I think that looking at what Josh Allen means to that team and what he's elevated that team to, I think that's just a lot more impressive what he's done than what Russ Wilson's done this season. I think if you were to tell me about who I'd rather have for the playoffs or who I'd rather have next season, I obviously trust Russell Wilson more, but I just want to reward Josh Allen for what he's done this season. And this season, he's been a top 4, top 3 type quarterback. So I thought it was a bit harsh to have him at I had him at 6 originally. I was like, I can't do that. Josh Allen's been too good for that this season. So I had to put aside my notions of what he's done last season because he was a below average quarterback. If you look at his PFF grade, I think he was in the 60s the past 2 seasons. And this year he's at a 90. So what I think that's helped him become a elite passer from a below average passer last season is his maturity. He's gone from 9.3 intended air yards to 8.4, and impressively his intended air yards per completion has gone up to 6.7. So even though he's dialing it back, he's been pushing the ball down the field more effectively and more efficiently than he was. Because what quarterbacks have to realize is it's not always about throwing it deep every play. Throwing it deep is a tool that you can use, but you want to be able to consistently have successful plays and not put yourself in a bind or a second and third and long. You just want to get completions and use that deep bomb as a tool to take the pressure off from a defense or take the pressure off off an offense and towards the defense. And I think that's really helped him. It's just maturing down. He's also become a lot more accurate. So he's gone from the 21st most accurate quarterback to statistically the best accurate quarterback in terms of on-target passing percentage. Like, that's crazy.
Wow.
That's the biggest leap I think I've ever seen. And I think it's really helped a lot of the quarterbacks that were ahead of him in terms of the on-ball accuracy have gone down this week. Like, Teddy Bridgewater was at 80%. Right now, I think Josh Allen's like a 77, 78. So a lot of the guys that were ahead of him fell down. But he's taken advantage. He is the most accurate quarterback in terms of on-target passing percentage. So really impressive. His bat ball percentage has gone from the 5th worst in the league to 14th. So another improvement. He's no longer being an erratic passer. Like, I was making a lot of jokes about Josh Allen and Stephon Diggs and how they would match, but he has been really impressive everywhere over the field. The biggest difference has been his ability to read defense. His time to throw has gone from dead last to the NFL to the joint best with Drew Brees. Like, he's gone from being able to sit in the pocket all day, doesn't know what to do, deer in the headlights, to being able to be Drew Brees quick with the ball. Like, that is a impressive change. I think that's something that you look at what Drew Lock can do, because Drew Lock has a lot of talent, and he looks like Josh Allen did 2 years ago or last season. If he can do the same progression that Josh Allen has, obviously I don't think that Brian Daboll and Pat Shermer are anywhere comparable, but he's a guy that I'd look for to have a Josh Allen type emergence. I think it's a little bit more risky, but I think if you look at the keys that he's done, maturing, being quicker with his reads, slowing down the offense, not being as aggressive, and still being just as effective, pushing the ball on the field, Really impressive stuff. He's still in play action, though his run game is terrible, and that's just because he's a great runner. He's third in the league in play action. And as I said, he's a great runner, fourth most in scramble yard, a lot of design runs as well. He's big, he's strong, he's got a great arm, and he's putting it all on display this season. He's had a great MVP level type season.
Yeah, I agree. His talent has really caught up with the more natural ability and athleticism. And if you look at Diggs, he went from a very good receiver to a Pro Bowl top 5 caliber receiver. And if you look at Cole Beasley, he's been consistent and underrated. Those are the two words that I would describe Cole Beasley in. So Allen has really elevated the talent around him. And that's why Buffalo is so good heading into the playoffs. So moving on to number 3, we have Aaron Rodgers, the top quarterback in this list from the NFC. Why do you have him at 3, Will?
Well, I think a lot of people would say that 3 is harsh for him because people think that he's the best quarterback this season. And statistically, he has been. What he has, I think his stats are ridiculous. It's like 44,000 something yards, 44 touchdowns, 6 interceptions. Like what he's done in terms of statistics have been incredible. But if you look at more of the advanced statistics, they don't tell the exact same story. And I think that the advanced statistics are a little bit harsh, but Aaron Rodgers has been fantastic all year. He's second and on target, fourth best in bad ball, really effective, accurate passer. But what's really strange about this is he has 7.8 yards of intended air yards per pass, but only 5.4 on completions, which, as a reference, Drew Brees is at 5.3. So I think that's just really strange. The big discrepancy of two and a half yard between his intended air yard per pass and per completion. Like you look at Drew Brees, it's a 0.7 difference. You look at Aaron Rodgers 2.4. I think that's just a big warning sign for me. He has an impressive time to throw 2.3. That's really impressive. He leads the league in yards after the catch, but I think it's a combination of his receivers being really good. Lazard, Valdez-Scantling, and Devontae Adams in particular have been exceptional this season. Devontae Adams has been absolutely brilliant this season. And that yards after the catch ability has turned a lot of fine, good plays into game-breaking plays. And he has benefited from that a lot. But I guess a lot of that being able to succeed after the catch is because of his placement. His placement has been great. I think that you have to look at his base statistics and his eye test, because the eye test says he's a great quarterback. He's been incredible. Only 2 games below 100 passer rating, 44 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. One thing I want to note about his flaws, or before I go into that, do you have anything else to add about Aaron Rodgers?
No, not really. I was gonna ask you a question, but go. I'll ask after the flaws.
So he has been good against pressure, or at least against quick or constant pressure. And we saw that a little bit with the Tennessee game. When he got pressured, it wasn't a great throw. I think he wasn't great against pressure. But the one game that really was exemplified is in the Tampa Bay game. Todd Bowles figured out that if you pressure Rodgers, he was not good. And you know what they did? They had they were up 10-0 or 10-3, the Packers were. He's like, all right, we're going to blitz you every single play for the rest of the game. And where did that happen? They shut them out. They shut out the Packers, went like 35-10 or something. He had a 35 passer rating. And other teams have tried to do that, but they don't have the personnel that the Bucs can have in man-to-man coverage to be able to allow the pass rush to do that. And then you have to have a great pass rush to be able to unleash them onto the offensive line. It's a similar thing to what the Saints did against Pat Mahomes, which was really effective as well. So fortunately for Aaron Rodgers and the Packers, not a lot of teams can do that. But if you look at the best teams in the NFC, the Packers, the Bears can do that. They have great coverage in the back. The Saints can do that, and LA can do that. So 3 teams that you're going to be competing against, and then potentially teams that you're going to be playing in the second and conference championship games. That is a worry for me and for my Packers fan looking at a playoff Super Bowl perspective. And then you look at some of the AFC teams to be playing in the Super Bowl. I think the Ravens can do that. Pittsburgh can easily do that with their incredible front. What other teams in the AFC could do that?
You think Kansas City could? I don't know about man-to-man coverage, but
I mean, Snead has been good this season, but I don't think they have enough manpower in the back end or enough manpower on the edge, because I don't think Frank Clark's been that good,
Mm-hmm.
or I wouldn't trust Alec Okafor and Frank Clark to really be a dominant pass rushing front. But you just worry about if a team is able to recreate what Tampa Bay did. Oh, Tampa Bay can do that in the playoffs. What am I talking about? The team we're talking about. How did we forget about them?
Oh my God.
I mean, they could be playing Tampa Bay in the divisional round easily.
Yeah.
Because they're a wild card
are,
team.
Yeah, chances are the NFC playoffs will be running through Green Bay. They are 12-3 right now, so there's a very good chance they clinch home field.
I mean, all they gotta do it's a win against the Bears and they've
NFC
got
championship game in Lambeau. He's always played away, whether it's been in California or Orlando. I mean, in Atlanta or in Chicago. Do you think that the home field advantage will help him a lot?
I don't know if it'll help him. I mean, we saw in the Tennessee game when the weather's his way, he absolutely knew how to do. His team knew what to do. AJ Dillon knows what to do in those conditions. Big, beastly back. I was a big fan of him coming out of college, and he's really shown to be that bruiser kind of guy that we saw. And then you more so look at how that would affect other teams. You have the cliche Saints not good outside of a dome. You have teams like the Rams coming from LA. That's a big shop. Tampa Bay. They've been all hot and sweaty all year. They have to go to Lambeau. That could be a big difference for them. So they win against the Bears. They have it. The only way they could lose the 1 seed is if the Saints win, Seahawks win, and they lose, which is a very miraculous, what I'm hoping for, but a miraculous event nonetheless. So more realistically, you're going to look at teams. If you have the Saints win, you have Tampa Bay beat Washington, and then you have the 3 seed, which is who's the 3 seed right now? It's
Seattle.
Then you have Seattle winning. You'd be playing Tampa Bay in the first round, and who knows what could happen in that game? Tampa Bay could easily win that game. Tampa Bay versus Seattle, Tampa Bay versus New Orleans in the conference championship game is a real possibility there. And that's the one thing if I'm a Packers fan. They've already proved to be able to shut you down and be able to feast off your defense. I know things don't really happen the same way in the playoffs, but that's the one thing I'd really worry about is that looks like your most likely first-round matchup.
Yeah, it's never good when you're facing a team that has beaten you that badly and knows your big Achilles heel. And that also doesn't help when you're facing Tom Brady in the playoffs. Even if he is old and kind of washed, he's still Tom Brady in the playoffs. So that does help a lot. So moving on, we have our top 2. And rounding it out, starting it off, is Deshaun Watson. And he's a guy that I just feel bad for being on such a dysfunctional team, but still playing so well at the quarterback position. What are your thoughts on Deshaun? And do you think he needs to request a trade?
I would if I were him, but he's just a great guy. I don't think he'll do that. I think people will say they'll have Deshaun Watson too high because you look at the team success and they haven't been great. Because a lot of the narrative is that QBs rule the NFL. QBs are the main determinant of outcomes. But if that was the case, the Texans would be in the playoffs right now. They'd be winning that division because he is exceptional. Yeah. He's been having a fantastic year. He has been absolutely brilliant. So he really puts aside the misnomer that quarterbacks control everything. And if you think I have Deshaun Watson too high, I'll tell you why I don't. He's first in intended air yards per completion and third in intended air yards. As I said, being higher in air yards per completion is brilliant. He's second in sacks at 45. He is being slaughtered out there. And we've seen how magical he is dancing out of pressure. But if you look at those first 4 weeks, he just couldn't escape. He's 14th and on target and 9th in bad balls. So solid numbers, but his intended air yards and his time to throw is 2.3. Like, with those intended air yards, you're going to be less accurate because you're pushing the ball down the field more. His time to throw is 2.3. Incredibly impressive considering he's pushing the ball down the field that much and very effectively. And then with Bill O'Brien, he was not as good as he could be. He was being limited by Bill O'Brien, just play calling wise and in terms of offensive line blocking. He was getting murdered. Since Bill O'Brien got fired, he has been ridiculous. 306 yards per game, for a total of 3,366 yards, 24 touchdowns, 3 interceptions, and 9 of 11 games with the pass rating over 100, including 5 over 120. He's been sacked 26 more times than Rodgers, and he's a magician in the pocket. The best thing, the thing that separates great quarterbacks from superstar, generational, elite, incredible Hall of Fame quarterbacks is the ability to make a play when everything breaks down. Deshaun Watson could evade 6 pursuers, spin out, 360, sidearm, no look, a touchdown. Like, with a subpar receiving core, Will Fuller being suspended, he's worked with a aging, less effective Brandon Cooks, Kiki Kuti, Jordan Akins, and Darren Fells, and a washed David Johnson. And he's made them look good. Like, he's taken this offense, made a dismal, dreadful, worst offensive line in the league look okay, not look like the problem. The defense has been leaky, averaging like 30 points a game. Like, what is he supposed to do? Go on the ball, play secondary, go pick off a pass? No, he's the quarterback. He can't do everything. He has been absolutely incredible. But what makes him special, not only is he a top 3 passer in the league, he's also PFF's number 4 runner as a QB behind guys like Ryan Tannehill, Sam Darnold, and Kyler Murray. So I'd argue he's probably like a top 3 runner in the league behind Josh Allen, Kyler Murray, Lamar Jackson. He's probably top 4 or 5. He is just an incredible runner. He's special. He can get out of any pressure. He can make any throw. He can do everything. And when we talk about our next guy, he can do what Deshaun Watson does, but to a higher level because he's just got more arm talent.
Yeah, I think that if you've been watching or if you have been watching the podcast for a long time, you know exactly who's coming in at number 1. His Instagram profile picture. And why do you have him at number 1? Or do I even need to ask you this?
No. So first thing I'll say, I don't even need to use stats to explain how incredible Pat Mahomes is. We've all watched him. He is ridiculous. I think we all watched the Saints game because that was the best matchup of the year so far. Just an incredible display. Saints versus Chiefs. I mean, if anyone else was at quarterback in that game, he probably would have been sacked 15 times. His ability to run, extend plays is just special. What he does running the ball, being efficient, getting first downs. I think what he does getting first downs, just extending drives with his legs, extending plays with his legs is incredible. His throws, the different arm slots he can throw it at is incredible. I don't want to sound like Chris Collinsworth when I just describe how great Pat Mahomes is at football. So I'll keep it short and sweet. He has the best arm in the league. He's got the best arm talent in the league. He is the best talent we've ever seen at the quarterback position. He is special. He will be going down as one of the greatest, if not the greatest quarterback of all time. He is special. He is Pat Mahomes. No other quarterback in the next 10 years will ever take my number 1 spot unless I play for my Saints and just somehow become amazing. So I think that it's pretty safe to say Mahomes be first. I don't need too many statistics to prove it. In fact, I probably don't need any. I don't think anyone's going to argue with me here. Eshan, what do you think about having Mahomes and how special he is?
Yeah, I think it's fairly obvious. Just the amount of talent that he has, the way he elevates the people around him. Because as good and as talented as Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce are, they would still be probably around Pro Bowl talents, but they wouldn't be as good as they are without Patrick Mahomes. He complements them so well. They complement him so well. And with Andy Reid, who is a quarterback guru, who's worked with Michael Vick, Donovan McNabb, and so many other guys, Mahomes has really been able to flourish, and keeping him in Kansas City in the perfect situation that allows him to just lead them to more wins and rack up more accolades for himself was just the right move. And I think that him and Watson are really the only 10-year contracts or longer than 5-year contracts that I would give to a player in the entire league almost.
For sure.
Yeah, I think Donald is pretty much too old. If Donald was a little bit younger, then yeah. But besides that,
maybe TJ Watt.
Yeah. Ooh,
I think he's like 25, so maybe not. I think you gotta look at some younger guys then, or some players like maybe you pay a kicker for 10 years because who knows?
How old is Myles Garrett?
I think he's like 25. But
yeah, he's 25.
Anyways, I think no other quarterback could do what he does with the ball. Like Tyreek Hill would not be the one of the top receivers in the league without Pat Mahomes because they couldn't get it to him. They couldn't place the ball perfectly. They couldn't find him whenever he makes a cut in the route in long developing sequences. You wouldn't be able to find him or hit him with he could throw the ball 50 yards without moving his feet or using his hips. And that's a lot of part of the mechanics. He's got perfect mechanics. He's just brilliant. He is the best quarterback.
Yeah, there's nothing to say about it. And that wraps up our final episode and our whole quarterback ranking series. We've got 8 videos, and we've talked about everyone from Alex Smith all the way to Pat Mahomes. To summarize in this episode, we had Josh Allen, Aaron Rodgers, Deshaun Watson, and then Mahomes, obviously. And yeah, be sure to subscribe, be sure to check out the website, and be sure to leave your thoughts and comments below. Because I know that there are a lot of people that might have Deshaun a little bit lower and Russell a little bit higher, for example.
Oh, for sure.
Don't be afraid. Yeah. Don't be afraid to leave your comments below. Leave a like or a dislike if you're a Seahawks fan. And have a great day and have a happy holidays.